A normal and beautiful morning that quickly turned around, the alarm of protective instinct mode setting in for Claire. Someone could get hurt if I do not act fast, she said to herself. Before we begin this story, please show your support by clicking the subscribe button, and make sure you watch till the end. Thank you. The day had started like any other for Claire, a high school teacher in her mid-30s. She loved her quiet mornings, the routine of stopping by a local cafe to grab coffee before heading to work. On this particular day, as she sipped her cappuccino near the window, her attention was drawn to a suspicious vehicle parked across the street. Inside the car was a man in his 40s with a hardened expression. Next to him, in the passenger seat, was a young girl, no older than 9, her small hands gripping her knees tightly. Something about her wide eyes and stiff posture unsettled Claire. As she watched, the girl briefly met Claire's gaze. Her lips parted slightly, and then, in an almost imperceptible movement, she pressed her fingers against the fogged window, tracing something. It was just a moment, but Claire's heart leaped when she realized the girl was writing SOS in the condensation. Claire's instincts kicked in. She grabbed her phone but hesitated. She needed more than a gut feeling before calling the police. She decided to leave the cafe and approached the situation cautiously. As she exited, she saw the man leaning toward the girl, his body language intimidating. Claire walked briskly but deliberately, keeping her focus on the car. The man noticed her and immediately stiffened. He started the engine and began to pull away, but Claire memorized the license plate before it disappeared down the street. She dialed 911, providing the operator with every detail she could remember, from the car's description to the girl's silent plea. The dispatcher assured her that the information would be relayed to officers in the area. Claire lived alone in a modest apartment, having moved to the city a few years earlier after a tough breakup. She had no children of her own but was close to her niece and nephew, often babysitting them. Her nurturing nature made her instinctively protective of Lily, and the situation hit close to home. Claire had always dreamed of being a teacher and loved to work with children and youths. Her experience with this little girl reignited her desire to help others. Hours passed, and Claire couldn't shake the girl's frightened expression. She shared the details with her school security officer, who also reported the incident to law enforcement. That evening, as she prepared dinner, her phone buzzed. It was Detective Ramirez, who was now in charge of the case. He asked Claire to meet him at the station to provide a formal statement. At the station, Claire recounted everything, her hands trembling as she described the girl's silent cry for help. Ramirez listened intently and explained that the license plate she provided was registered to a man named Todd Grayson, a known offender with a record of domestic violence and kidnapping. The girl had been reported missing 2 days ago by her frantic mother, who lived few streets away. A statewide alert was issued, and officers began their search for Grayson's car. Meanwhile, Claire couldn't shake her worry. She began scouring local social media pages for updates, sharing the girl's description and urging people to report any sightings. The next day, Claire's vigilance paid off. A diner owner in a neighboring town called in a tip after recognizing the car parked behind their establishment. Officers moved swiftly, surrounding the diner and carefully approaching Grayson's vehicle. Inside, they found the girl huddled in the back seat, her tear-streaked face lighting up with relief as officers assured her she was safe. Grayson was arrested on the spot. At the station, the girl whose name was Lily clung to her mother as they reunited. Claire was invited to meet them, and as she walked into the room, Lily ran to her, throwing her arms around her savior. "You saw me," Lily whispered, her voice cracking. "You saved me." Claire's eyes welled up. "You're so brave, Lily. You saved yourself by asking for help. I'm just glad I was there." When cornered by the police at the station, Grayson initially tried to deny everything. "You've got it wrong," he insisted. "She came with me willingly. I was just trying to help." But when officers presented evidence, including Lily's tearful recounting of events and the surveillance footage of him forcing her into the car, his facade cracked. He eventually admitted, "Fine, I panicked. I needed money. But it's not like I hurt her." Grayson admitted during questioning that his motives were financial. He was deeply in debt due to gambling and saw Sarah, Lily's mother, as an easy target because she had recently received a small inheritance. He initially approached Sarah under the guise of offering financial advice, but quickly realized she wouldn't give him what he wanted. Desperate, he abducted Lily, planning to use her as leverage to force Sarah to comply. Grayson justified his actions, claiming, "I wasn't going to hurt her. I just needed Sarah to listen." The media soon picked up the story, hailing Claire as a hero. But she remained humble, emphasizing the importance of community vigilance and listening to one's instincts. The experience brought the community together, sparking a movement to educate children about secret signals and how to seek help when in danger. Months later, Claire and Lily's family stayed in touch. At a community event honoring local heroes, Lily and her mother were present. Claire was recognized by the mayor of the city as she was presented with a plaque. After the event, Lily also presented Claire with a hand-drawn card that read, "Thank you for being my light in the dark." With this, Claire realized that even the smallest actions could create ripples of hope and change. Grayson, meanwhile, faced multiple charges, including kidnapping and child endangerment. One Saturday, Claire sat in the community center gym, watching Lily run around with a group of other kids, her laughter echoing in the large room. It had been a few months since the harrowing incident, and Lily's joy was a stark contrast to the frightened girl Claire had first seen in that car. But today wasn't just about healing, it was about justice. That evening, Claire was sitting in her living room when she heard a knock on the front door. At first, she was skeptical. Who could that be? "I am not expecting anyone," she murmured to herself. She looked through the peephole, not sure who it was. When she opened the door, it was Detective Ramirez, his expression serious but tinged with relief. "Oh, Detective Ramirez. Is everything all right?" Claire asked. "Miss Thompson, I apologize for batching into you like this." "Come on in, Detective." Claire invited him inside. "Claire, we've got news. Grayson's trial is moving forward faster than expected. The DA wants to meet with you." Claire's stomach tightened. "Me? Why?" "You're the key witness, Claire. Your testimony about seeing the SOS and reporting the license plate will be crucial. This is our chance to ensure Grayson pays for what he's done." Claire nodded, feeling a mix of determination and anxiety. "When do they need me?" "Tomorrow morning. I'll be there to guide you through it." The next day, the courtroom was tense, filled with murmurs from the gallery. Grayson sat at the defendant's table, his disheveled appearance doing little to hide the cold menace in his eyes. Lily's mother, Sarah, was seated at the front, her hands gripping a tissue as she fought to maintain her composure. Claire sat nearby, trying to steady her nerves. The prosecutor began outlining the case, painting a vivid picture of Grayson's pattern of manipulation and violence. Then it was Claire's turn. She walked to the witness stand, her heart pounding but her resolve firm. The prosecutor approached. "Miss Claire Thompson, can you describe what you saw on the morning of the incident?" Claire recounted the moment she noticed Lily in the car, the SOS scrawled on the fogged window, and how she'd memorized the license plate. As she spoke, she could feel Grayson's eyes boring into her, but she refused to falter. The defense attorney tried to rattle her. "Miss Thompson, Is it possible you misinterpreted what you saw? A foggy window could easily create random marks. How do you know it was an SOS? Claire met his gaze steadily. Because Lily confirmed it. She wrote it to ask for help. And I wasn't going to ignore a child in distress. The courtroom fell silent, the weight of her words hanging in the air. After her testimony, Claire returned to her seat, where Sarah leaned over, whispering, "Thank you. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't acted." Claire gave her a small smile. "We're all here for Lily. She deserves justice." The trial continued with testimony from law enforcement, including Detective Ramirez, who detailed the swift action taken based on Claire's report. But the most dramatic moment came when Lily was called to the stand. With her mother by her side, Lily bravely recounted how Grayson had taken her and how she'd written the SOS. Her voice trembled as she recounted the ordeal. "He told me to get in the car," she said, glancing at her mother for reassurance. "He said if I didn't, he'd hurt my mom." She described how she had written the SOS sign on the foggy window of the car. "I noticed a woman was looking, but I didn't know if anyone would see it, but I had to try," she said, her small voice echoing in the courtroom. When asked what she felt in those moments, Lily said, "I was scared. But when Miss Claire saw me, I knew she would help." Her testimony was both heartbreaking and powerful, leaving not a single dry eye in the courtroom. Grayson's demeanor shifted as Lily spoke, his confident smirk replaced by visible discomfort. The jury watched him closely, their expressions hardening with every detail. The verdict was delivered days later. Grayson was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to 10 years in prison. The judge commended Lily's bravery, saying, "Your courage and quick thinking saved your life. Never underestimate your strength." The gallery erupted in quiet applause, relief washing over everyone in the room. Outside the courthouse, Claire, Sarah, Lily, and Detective Ramirez gathered with reporters. Claire spoke briefly, urging communities to remain vigilant and to always act when something feels wrong. Lily hugged her tightly, whispering, "You're my hero." As they leave the courthouse, a man approached Claire. "You don't know me, but I'm Lily's uncle. My family owes you everything." "You don't owe me anything," Claire said softly. "Just take care of her." Few days later, one evening, Claire sat in her living room, reflecting on the whirlwind events. Her phone buzzed. It was Sarah. "Claire," Lily wanted to say good night. Lily's voice came on the line. "Hi, Miss Claire. Guess what?" "What's that, sweetheart?" "I told my class about you today. My teacher said you're a real-life superhero." Claire chuckled, her chest swelling with warmth. "I think you're the real hero, Lily. You were so brave." As the call ended, Claire looked at the hand-drawn card Lily had given her months ago. "Thank you for being my light in the dark," it read. Claire smiled, realizing that even the smallest actions could leave a lasting impact, turning darkness into light for someone in need. As Claire set the phone down, she took a deep breath and looked around her modest but cozy apartment. The card from Lily rested on the mantelpiece next to a framed photo of her late mother, a constant reminder of the importance of compassion and strength. The next day, Claire received an unexpected invitation. Sarah and Lily had organized a small community gathering, or if you'd like, party, to honor everyone who played a role in Lily's rescue. Hesitant at first, Claire finally decided to attend, feeling it was the right way to close this chapter. The gathering was held at a local park. Families milled about, children played on the swings, and a small stage had been set up. Claire arrived, feeling slightly out of place until Lily came bounding over, dragging Sarah behind her. "Miss Claire, you came." Lily's face lit up, and she threw her arms around Claire. Of course, I wouldn't miss this, Claire said, her heart swelling at the child's joy. Detective Ramirez was there too, dressed casually and waving her over. Claire, you're practically a local celebrity now. You should be used to the attention. Claire laughed nervously. Celebrity? I just did what anyone else would have done. Not everyone would, Ramirez said firmly. You went above and beyond. As the event unfolded, Sarah stepped onto the stage and took the microphone. She spoke about the nightmare her family had endured and the gratitude she felt for those who had stepped in to save her daughter. When she called Claire to the stage, the crowd erupted in applause. Claire stepped up, her hands trembling slightly. She looked out at the crowd, at Lily sitting front and center, her face beaming with pride. I didn't do this for recognition, Claire began. I acted because I couldn't stand the thought of a child in danger. It's a reminder for all of us, if something feels wrong, speak up, act, and care for one another. We have the power to change lives, even with small actions. The crowd cheered, and Lily ran up to hug her again. A man in the crowd raised his hand. Miss Claire, do you think you'd do anything differently? Claire shook her head. Not a single thing. I've learned that doing the right thing doesn't always feel easy or safe, but it's always worth it. Later that evening, after the event had wrapped up, Claire found herself sitting on a bench by the park's lake. The night was quiet, the stars twinkling in the sky. Detective Ramirez approached her, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need this, he said, handing her one. Claire smiled. Thanks, Ramirez. What a day. He nodded, sitting beside her. You know, I've been in this line of work for years, and I've seen a lot. But people like you, who act without hesitation and without thinking about the cost, that's rare. Claire shrugged, staring out at the water. I just wanted Lily to be safe. That's all. And you did more than that, Ramirez said. You gave her hope. You showed her that good people exist, even in dark times. They sat in silence for a moment, sipping their coffee. Claire thought about the events that had unfolded, the fear, the courage, and the unexpected bond she'd formed with a little girl and her family. Do you think Grayson's sentencing will make a difference? Claire asked quietly. Ramirez sighed. I hope so. But even if it doesn't change the system overnight, it matters for Lily, for Sarah, and for the families who've suffered. That's what counts. Claire nodded, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't felt in months. The journey had been harrowing, but it had led to something beautiful, a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the power of kindness. As she walked back to her car, Lily's voice echoed in her mind, "You're my hero." Claire smiled, realizing that maybe, just maybe, she was. One thing is certain, Claire's quick thinking and Lily's courage showed that bravery, kindness, and vigilance could save lives, even in the darkest moments. Is there anything Claire or Sarah could have done differently? Share your thoughts in the comment section. If you appreciate this story, please like, share, and hit the subscribe button. And do not forget to turn on the notification bell for more inspiring stories.